the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Hands to Hester, and Hester, yep, got it, 5 out of 5.
From carrying each other to a natty to carrying each other on the air.
Flynn is back to throw for the end zone goal.
Live from the Raising Cane studio, it's Off the Bench.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 3 of OTV. We're about to have our guy, Chef Michael Johnson, on, so go ahead and get those Munchie questions inside the chat. I guess you can text Munchie questions to 225-499-1045 as well. Multiple ways to get your Munchie questions in. We're going to have Chef right now. We're going to have Coach Jay Johnson join us at 9:30. So jam-packed hour number 3. Let's go ahead and get to our guy, Chef Michael Johnson, to answer your Munchie questions.
Get ready to tantalize your taste buds and leave this segment hungry. This is Munchies with Executive Chef Michael Johnson.
Let's eat.
Chef, how we doing? How we living, brother?
Man, I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Well, I mean, we're doing good. The tripod. Flynn's got a tummy ache. He's not here today.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, had a little tummy ache. Not here today. He's got the, like when you're sick and you got the covers pulled all the way up to your chin and you're sitting there and you got a rag on your head, thermometer in your mouth. That's him today.
Little tiara.
Yep, that too. You nailed it. Exactly right. All right, Chef, I want to ask you this before we get started. Crawfish season. All right. Crawfish going all over the place. A lot of good spots around town there. But I don't think we've ever asked you this, which is wild. I was passing by one yesterday, and my 10-year-old son goes, "Hey, Dad, where's the best crawfish in Louisiana? Where's the best place?" And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? I don't know, but I know who's going to know, and I'm going to ask him tomorrow. So, Chef, I'm going to put you on the spot. Maybe the most important question you can be asked in Louisiana of your time here in the great state. The best crawfish and the best crawfish spot.
Well, I'll just start by saying that this is a highly debated subject, and there is, without a doubt, some people who are going to disagree with me. I think, the best crawfish that I've had, and I'll just leave it at my opinion versus everybody else's, have come from the spillway.
Okay.
I think that they grow differently there. I don't know. It's opinionated, man. Farm crawfish are rather there's differences in them, right? I think that the spillway crawfish have a little bit more natural settings, but I also buy farm crawfish from rice farms that are absolutely delicious and they grow really well. You know what I mean? So it's a tough question to answer, man, because it depends on the energy of the people that are farming them, I think, and how much care and attention they're putting into them, because there are farmers out there who pay attention to it that are very good at what they do and know how to treat the ground, because the crawfish live off the ground and off the soil, and what's in the soil. And so that the quality of the soil matters. And so,
it's funny, we used to have little crawfish. We had a little creek that ran behind our house in San Diego, and we used to have little crawfish out there.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, Chef, I had no idea that was even a possibility.
Yeah.
I was like, man, y'all ain't got crawfish out here. It's like, oh, no, yeah, actually, they're right there in the creek behind your house. There's crawfish.
Yeah, well, in San Diego, they're either crawdads or crayfish, right?
That's true, too, but you know me. I wasn't about to say that.
That's right. Yeah.
I was not about to change my ways. That was not going to happen.
I grew up in the creeks of Missouri, and we used to have big blue crawfish up there. But we called them crawdads. Yeah. And it's a different species, yeah.
That's right. All right, hashtag Munchies. Best side to go with a steak.
baked potato, whipped mashed potato. Got to, like for me, it's a potato. I know we're in the land of rice down here, but if it's a steak, it's going to be a potato for me. Now, if you're talking about starch versus veg, I absolutely love grilled asparagus with a little olive oil, a squeeze of lemon juice, a little sprinkle of kosher salt,
Solid.
maybe some cracked black pepper. Just blanched, grilled, and delivered. Yeah.
Hashtag Munchies, no question, just a thanks for the advice last week on sticking a bag of ice in the gumbo to cool it down quickly. Worked out great this past weekend.
Awesome. That sounds good. Yeah.
There you go. It's always the hacks. It's always the hacks that I find fascinating that, lived for a long time and didn't even know that you could
Necessity is the mother of invention, brother. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That is true. Hashtag Munchies. What is the best food to slow cook? I guess I'm assuming it means like what's the best one if you give it its time and its proper technique to slow cook and maybe it gets better as the time goes?
Well, by nature, things that need to be slow cooked are like muscle tissues that have a lot of connective tissue in it, a lot of elastin in it. So you have two types of fat. You have collagen that melts away and is soft and tastes good, and then you have elastin. And elastin, when it cooks, when it heats up, it tends to get tough first and will shrivel. Thus, the elastin, it's kind of elastic. But after a while, that will give way. And so, those cuts of meats that are more used on the creature's body, like the shoulders and the rumps and those pieces on the closer to the ends, if you will.
Yep.
Those are going to be the pieces that benefit greatest from because the connective tissue is greater there. And if you slow cook something like a beef tenderloin, it's going to turn to mush because it's you know what I mean.
That's not good.
No. I mean, there's. Go ahead.
What about one? I didn't mean to cut you off there, but my brain squirrel. Like one like chili. Like I've always heard people be like, "Hey, you want to slow cook this chili?" That one's a little different because it's not the things that we're talking about there. It's like a lot of the same ingredients maybe that you wouldn't want to cook for a long time. Why do people always say it with chili?
So I think with chili, it's kind of the same with soups, right? Like it's not just the slow cooking process; it's the amount of time that it spends together. If that makes sense,
okay,
like
the
flavors, like the flavors melding together. Like theoretically, if you're using beans in your chili that are dry, you got to take time to cook those, right? So therein is one of those things. If you're using ground beef, it's not to tenderize the ground beef, obviously.
Right.
It really is about letting those flavors meld together.
Makes sense.
And if you're serving it immediately, you absolutely need to slow cook it and long cook it because the longer it's in the pot and the pan under heat, the more those flavors going to meld together. But you can also cool it and put it in the refrigerator overnight, and it will, like overnight soup, overnight chili is going to taste better on day 2 than day 1. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is, that is gastronomically true, if you will.
Hashtag Munchies. Is beef loin top sirloin with cap off a good cut of steak?
Beef sirloin cap off. Yeah, I mean, in it's not the worst cut of steak. You know what I mean? Like, it depends on your favor for texture, really.
Right.
So sirloin, almost any type of sirloin is going to have a relatively firm texture, but you can grill it over an open flame like you can, say, a ribeye or a tenderloin. So the strip loin is technically a part of a sirloin. It's called a short loin. So sirloin cuts as a whole are going to be somewhere in between the toughest of cuts and the most tender of cuts. So it's midway. And it really is about the texture. You want to look for the marbling. If you're looking for a tasty steak, you need to make sure that it has marbling in there.
Right.
But if you're just looking for a good, clean protein, the sirloin is going to offer a mixture of both of those things, right? Like the ribeye has a lot of fat. Tenderloin doesn't have much. A sirloin is going to be somewhere in the middle, or should be.
Hashtag Munchies. Is it safe to put a can of green beans with holes punched in it into a crawfish boil when all the cans have a plastic liner?
I don't put metal into I wouldn't put metal into my crawfish boil. I would fear that it's going to, distaste it. If you were going to one, I think I would prefer cook fresh green beans in it versus canned, just out of preference. I don't like canned foods as a whole.
Right.
I would buy frozen green beans to canned green beans.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting anything metal into my boil because, like they oftentimes the vegetables that are been canned, like they have nutrition to them, but they're least nutrient quality of all things. But also it tends to leave a metallic flavor, right? And
Yeah.
I just have this philosophy of don't put things in your food you don't want to taste, right? And
Right.
so, is it safe? I think it's safe. Is it necessary? I think that there's better ways of going about it.
How about this one, Chef? I think you'll appreciate this one. Did a rump roast in the crock pot and didn't realize the little plastic paper thing on the bottom stuck to the roast. Yep. 8 hours of slow-cooked plastic. Oh man, I feel like that's probably happened to so many people.
Oh man, we're laughing with you, not at you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because we've all, I remember I had a when you eat something or you share like a flavor, it takes you back to a memory sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was eating a sandwich the other day and had failed to pull the paper properly from between the slices of cheese. And I put it on my sandwich and wasn't even paying attention. Like there was one piece of cheese that had paper on the bottom side of it, and I didn't see it. So when I bit into my sandwich, I was like, damn, there's something tough in here, right?
Yeah.
So it took me back to when I was a father and having children. And I did I made a sandwich with my eyes closed somehow. I was up, feeding my daughter when she was like 2. And yeah, so we've all been there.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Chef, you're still a father, by the way.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
He said when I was a father, I was like, yeah, you're still a father.
Yeah.
But I also totally understand what you're saying when those late night feedings and you're getting up and you don't really know what happened. You're trying to find something, and sometimes it doesn't work out. All right, hashtag Munchies. Let's see. No, we asked one about that. What's the last fresh fish that Chef has caught and made for himself?
Ooh, gosh, last time I went fishing, I think redfish. Yeah,
I'm about to say, it can't be that long ago. I know how much you love to put a line in the water.
Actually, I've been doing a decent amount of fishing, so I was trying to decide. I had some catfish, not too long ago.
I love catfish.
I think the last time I was fishing, I was bow fishing with my brother, and we ate redfish.
Yeah. Nice. You know what? This might be like the redneck part of me coming out. It might be the 318 coming out of me, but there's great fish all throughout the Gulf, no doubt about it. I'll eat almost all of it. I love fish, one of my favorite things. But by God, a thin cut piece of fried catfish is so hard to beat.
It is. It's just, and I prefer it thin cut over like the.
Me too.
Over like the whole. Yeah. I like that crispiness and it. It's kind of like yeah.
All right, we got to end on that one. Can't go any farther down the road after that bad boy. I'm gonna be honest with you. No.
Do you take tartar sauce with your catfish?
Oh, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's your favorite side with cat? Like, I'm like a child when it comes to catfish. Like, I'd love like some catfish and French fries. I gotta be honest with you.
The French fries are it. And steak cut fries even more so than that. I'll tell you what is not going to be eaten with my catfish. I don't know why anybody ever decided that coleslaw was a proper food, but you know what I mean? Like, just keep the coleslaw.
Oh, no, Chef, not a fan of coleslaw.
No, not at all. I mean, I'll eat it under certain circumstances, but it just seems like one of those, fillers that isn't necessary for me.
All right. Now that we know that, I think that's like one of the few things that you've ever said that you just don't like.
Yeah, I eat most foods, and I'll eat coleslaw. It's just not, I don't know. One of those things.
All right, Chef. We appreciate you every single week. We look forward to it every single week. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll catch up next week.
Take care, Jake.
Man, I love coleslaw. I don't know about y'all. Like, I'm the guy that at
I'm
Cane's,
not anti
I
coleslaw.
am getting coleslaw at Cane's.
Depends on the place. Most of the time, I'm not a coleslaw.
I'm going
person.
bread, coleslaw, tendy, cane sauce, French fry. Roll that thing up, basically, make it a sandwich.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Love coleslaw.
I'm not part of the anti-coleslaw lobby.
Me neither. I love it. God, I like a pulled pork barbecue sandwich.
I do love that.
Like, you imagine if, Alondra and I, big Buc-ee's fans.
Love Buc-ee's.
Can you imagine if they had coleslaw on that pulled pork sandwich?
That would actually be really good.
Ooh.
I also like to put potato salad like on my brisket
too.
sandwiches.
Absolutely will do that.
They have. Y'all are giving good suggestions. I'm going to Buc-ee's this weekend because we're going to the beach.
Yeah.
Do they have potato salad and/or coleslaw?
They do have
Probably,
potato
yes. I
salad
bet they
there.
have
we're
both.
trying this.
Yeah.
I bet they have both.
I will report back.
I've never seen they probably do have it. I've never seen it, but I know I've seen potato salad there.
Favorite thing at Buc-ee's?
The brisket, the chopped beef sandwich, but I love the chips that they make.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
Yeah.
you do like those. Honey glazed pecans.
Yeah.
I'll go a little bit different. In their bakery section, you can get like the cookies individual, but if you look close, you can get a 6-pack for like $6. They're
Yep.
chocolate chip cookies. Elite.
Yep. Shout out to Buc-ee's. Team O2B loves a
We love
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's. They should
We will
sponsor
stop
us.
3 times.
I
when
don't
going
We
through it.
did.
like.
Yeah.
I don't eat 4 out of the 6 whenever me and Victoria get them. That's totally not true. But
I wonder.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if Matt stopped on his way back because remember he drove before us on the way back. Like he rented a car
rented
and
a
left.
car. I know we
wonder-
stopped.
We stopped for sure.
Yeah,
I wonder if Matt did.
he definitely did when he's not with a tummy ache. All right, we'll take a break. We got Jay Johnson about 15 minutes from now. Stay locked in to OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, if your AC goes out, it is an emergency. You go to emsair.net for Emerson Heating and Air. Listen, before you spend thousands on a full system replacement, get a second opinion. If another AC company tells you that you need a new unit, Emerson Heating and Air will come out and give you a free second opinion when you mention you heard it here on OTB. That's right, free for OTB listeners. And if you need a new system, Emerson offers free quotes and financing options to make it easy for you. They also specialize in new construction, everything from production, builder installs, all the way to multi-million-dollar custom homes, both residential and commercial. And right now, it is back, the OTB $89 AC Spring Service Special. It's normally $130, but right now, for just $89 for OTB listeners, you get a system that is going to be ready for the South Louisiana heat. Remember, mention OTB. And go to their website, emsair.net, emsair.net.
From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Sometimes I wanna take you down. Sometimes I wanna get you low. I'll brush your hair back from your eyes. I'll take you down, let the river flow. Sometimes I'm gonna walk the street behind a green sheet of glass, a million miles below their feet, a million miles.
All right, welcome back in. OTB here live from the Raising Cane's studio. LSU going to be back out on the practice field today. Offense found its way back after a rough Saturday to win the day, it sounded like, on Tuesday. Tay, we going out there?
No, they're actually probably out there right now. They don't really like when you show up late. They kind of let all the media in at one time.
Nah.
So like during the week, like that's why I went Saturday.
But I think y'all get to stay the whole practice now, though.
Yeah, yesterday.
So
and,
they might not mind now. Probably like maybe before when you had like 45-minute viewing.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. You know who was supposed to go today, but somebody's sick?
Matt Flynn.
Me and Matt. Matt and I, me and Matt, Clayton and I.
See if Jamarcus is still in town. Go with him instead.
Yeah.
He might bust in your
True.
mouth.
Call him up. You might. Apparently does that.
Maybe don't do that. He said it, not me.
He did.
Yeah, maybe
On
skip that. Maybe
podcast.
don't send that text.
He did. Shout out J. Russ. So I guess we're not going. Is my whole point. Do we think Matthew's going to be here tomorrow?
Yeah, I think he'll.
Yeah.
I think he'll pull it together. I mean, he said he was going to beat it faster than anybody's ever beat it.
He basically tried to pull the Harbaugh line, an enthusiasm unknown to mankind, but it got him. I'm going to beat this way faster than any other human. How'd that turn out? Anyways.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because he sent that text, and then like an hour later, guys will feel
No,
terrible.
I really don't feel good. He's
I'm like, you feel worse now than when you sent that.
I appreciate that he tried to be like, no, I'm going to beat this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you if he said, like, it's lip service at this point?
That's
though.
fair.
You know, you could just be like, hey, man, I'm down and out. Like, I ain't going to be there. Like, then I probably would have, like,
Okay.
probably planned it a little bit different because, you know, he doesn't like guests. I like guests. So when he said, like, he was going to beat it with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind, I was like, oh, he's going to be here. But then it beat him up.
Yeah.
So it's fine. All right, Brad Crawford over at CBS Sports put out an article, the best case and worst case scenarios for each team in the top 25. And we don't care about the other 24 teams. We care about the LSU Tigers. And for this article, it says the best case scenario would be 11-1 overall, 8-1 in conference play. The write-up says, well, the bad news, the only SEC elite not on Lane Kiffin's first-year schedule at LSU is Georgia. The good news, the Tigers just spent more on talent than they ever have previously and have assured this coaching staff that production is coming across all position groups. Kiffin has preached patience this offseason, but let's face it, failing to reach the CFP in year number one will not meet expectations. All right, so put that in the back of your memory bank. Worst-case scenario, 8-4 overall, 6-3 in league play. The Ole Miss faithful would pay anything to see this happen, but truthfully, the Tigers roster looks relatively foolproof overall. LSU could still recover from an opening loss to Clemson during non-conference action, but not if new quarterback Sam Leavitt has his confidence rattled in the face of enormous pressure as this portal cycle's top-ranked player. All right, so let's talk about both scenarios. Best case, 11-1. Worst case, 8-4. If the worst case scenario happened, 8-4, 6-3 in league play, what does that look like?
Who'd you lose to? Would be my question. You can't.
Well, if it's 8-4, 6-3 in league play, you lost to Clemson.
Yeah.
That's the obvious one. So let's say 8-4, you lose to Clemson, you lose to Texas, you lose to Alabama and A&M.
It's not great.
I don't 8-4.
Lane cannot. He cannot lose that September 19th game in Oxford. Lane can't lose that game.
Yeah.
That's the one. Like, I wouldn't have thought a must-win game would happen three games into a guy's tenure. He can't lose that Ole Miss game. Also, losing to A&M.
8-4 would be tough.
Yeah, losing to A&M and Texas in Death Valley and Clemson.
I was just trying to think of the tough
No, I
teams
know.
in the schedule. Yeah. Worst case scenario to me, after everything you've put into this team, the absolute worst that would be somewhat okay would be 9-3 and 7-2 in league play. 7-2 in league play still gives you a chance. Still gives you an opportunity. Nobody signed up for 8-4. Nobody that came here from somewhere else, or nobody that donated to this place to be above what they were. And again, and the article says it, you're playing the who's who, but nobody cares. Right, wrong, or indifferent, nobody cares. So that might be the worst case scenario, which, again, you're not even that. You'd have more wins than you had a year ago. But I don't think anybody here is going to be okay with that. And I know they're not going to be. And the coaches aren't going to be okay with that. It is going to be one of those seasons where nobody cares who you play. At least I don't think so. Like, when you look at their schedule, and again, the article points it out, but people are not going to care. They're going to know how much you spent on this roster. They're going to know how much you spent on the coaches. They're going to know that you blew it up and tried to hit reset, which you did. They're not going to care that you have Clemson coming to town. You go to Oxford, A&M comes to town. Alabama comes to town. You got to go play in Jordan-Hare too. That place is never easy. If they could be terrible, and it's going to be a very difficult environment. Texas comes to town. You got to go to Tennessee. Nobody is going to care. Just not going to.
You just got rid of 8-4.
Yeah.
You paid $54 million to make 8-4 go away. Can't go 8-4.
But he told y'all, like, hey, guys, it's going to take some time. He got out in front of it.
He did, but that doesn't matter.
No, I actually agree with y'all.
And you
but,
know
like,
that.
no, I agree.
I know you know
like,
that, but
Yeah. And Lane, Kurt Signetti did it. So.
you're number 1 playoffs. You're number 2 natty.
Yeah.
At Indiana.
And we're
Like, that
giving
matters.
you all of the resources that you need to make it happen here. So.
You might can make the argument that the very bottom floor is 10-2. To feel good about it.
No, that's what I think.
About it. So, all right, just an interesting article. And again, I think they think a lot of LSU, and that's why they put the best case scenario as a one-loss team that's absolutely in the college football playoff. But it also points out the schedule. Nobody cares about the schedule. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. And that's why we're all excited, though. We're all excited because of that potential and what we think and the expectation of how it's going to play out. All right, we will take a break. Jay Johnson, LSU head baseball coach, will join us when we come back here on OTB.
Off the bench. "2007 champs, purple and gold to the core. This is Off the Bench with Hester and Flynn, Baton Rouge's go-to for all things Louisiana sports.
All right, welcome back in. OTB here live from the Raising Cane's studio. Always enjoy our Thursday catch-ups with LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson, who joins us now. Coach, we always appreciate the time. Hope you're doing well.
Good. How are you doing this morning?
Doing fantastic. Always look forward to our conversations. Got a big series this weekend, obviously inside of the box, and I know you're looking forward to that. But kind of going back over the last couple of games, Coach, I know it was good to get back into the win column on Tuesday against Northwestern State. You get a victory there, 4-2, and probably really enjoyed what you saw on the mound.
Yeah, I thought it was a very well-pitched game. We used 9 pitchers in the game. I thought everybody did their job, and I think much more in line with what those guys are capable of doing. And good team. You know, team's first place in the Southland Conference at this point, and it was good we were able to get, you know, some of our better guys in there, and they delivered. And if you keep them to 2, it's going to give you a good chance to win anytime you play.
And Coach, obviously we talked about, I mean, you know, going back to the weekend in Oxford, then you played a good Bethune-Cookman team going back to last Tuesday, and just to get a win there. But going back, like, and looking at the series on the road in Oxford, right, that first game, it's like if a couple things happen your way, kind of flip it there, you fight hard to scratch back and tie the game up. Like, when you have a situation like that, how difficult is it to try to cut that one game, not allow that one game to become 2 games, 3 games, whatever that situation might be? Because, you know, it's good going into this series with a victory, but how hard is it when you have a game like that on Friday where you fight hard, you tie it up, and then a couple things don't go your way? A ball doesn't leave the infield, right? You're trying to make play after play. It just doesn't go your way, to try to cut that and get back to your winning ways.
Yeah, I think I look at it in a couple different lights. Specifically in that game, you know, we came out in the first inning, 2 veteran players. Chris runs a good at bat against Hunter Elliott, gets on base. Jake hits a home run. We're up ahead 2-0, and then we had a couple guys on in that inning, and then we had guys on in the second inning as well. Against a good pitcher like that, you got to break through and score when you have chances. We had another, you know, situation where we had multiple runners on. And, you know, that's Hunter Elliott's a good pitcher. He's a veteran, and he finds a way to get strikes and outs, you know, where he needs to. And he did that. And, yeah, we fought back. It was 3-3, and you have to handle the ball in the infield, which is, you know, probably one of the big flaws. Not probably is one of the big flaws of our team. And you're not going to beat a good team on the road, you know, making mistakes. It'd be like, you know, fumbling near your own goal line 3 times. Like, that's what the 8th inning was that night. And you're not going to overcome that. They're almost too good a team, like really good pitching staff. So, I mean, that one was pretty self-explanatory. And then game 2, I mean, it's a bad loss, 12-2, but against Cade Townsend, who's one of the best pitchers in the league. We score 1 in the first, and, we left 2 more guys on in the first. We scored in the second, left a couple more guys on in the second. If that game is 4-0 instead of 2-0, there's a different dynamic to how the game is played. So I think it's just cashing in to where, we can get our better pitching in the game. And, I didn't see it as much as anything as one game at a time. Like, guys are, competing, they're trying hard. And in some ways, it's just as simple as you can't make errors in the infield, you can't walk people, and somebody needs to get a 2-out hit at some point. And, to me, that's how I look at it. It's not anything other than we need to play or be a better baseball team.
Right. And Coach, I've known you a long time now, know you well enough to know, it is hard sometimes to find moral victories because, look, we know what it is and we know what you expect. But, even on the last game, to fight back, and you fall short. We all know that. But still, to see the fight and try to get back into it. And then, also to see, obviously it didn't go the way that you wanted on the mound to start the game, but to see Garcia and Sheeran and come in and what they were able to do, you can probably take some, okay, well, I had confidence in those players already, but it continues to grow.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, the one thing we can do is we can come back from a large deficit on a Sunday. As you get to, lower in the other team's pitching staff, we handle that caliber of pitching pretty well. And we haven't won as much as we want to. These guys do still have pride in competing in their performance, and they showed that. And, we had to make some switches to try to get back in the game. Again, it left us a little vulnerable on defense, and we didn't make a play in the bottom of the 7th inning that would have retired the leadoff guy. And then, again, this is about putting more pressure on our opponent. And in that environment, there was a very good team. Their crowd was awesome. It was full. We allowed them to have the momentum or play the games the way they wanted to. And even in that, you had 2 games that were winnable with 6 outs to go. And so we need to play better to be over the hump in those games. The starting pitching on Friday and Saturday was no problem, doing a good job and matching, 2 really good pitchers offensively, just taking advantage of the opportunities we'd created for ourselves a little better. And then we have to handle the ball, and, it's between, some skill stuff and, some, I guess you would call it injuries. We're not as good at, first base, second base, and as we need to be. And that really hurt us with the amount of really good left-handed hitters that Ole Miss has.
Catching up with LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson here on OTB. And, Coach, I know a lot of people would look at Texas A&M coming to town and, oh, man, number 9 team in the country. But knowing you like I do, that's an opportunity for your baseball team. It's the great thing about the SEC. You can have a weekend that you want back, but the next weekend is going to be another opportunity to play a great team. And this time, this one's going to be in the box. I'm sure the crowd is going to be at capacity. I'm sure it's going to be turned up to 11. It just typically is whenever LSU and Texas A&M get together. So a great opportunity for your team starting on Friday night.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's good to be home. We've been on a road 2 weeks in a row, which, most teams probably have one of those throughout the schedule, but it feels like we haven't played a SEC home game in a month. And so we're excited to be back. Crowd is always great here, and they're a great team. I kind of look at it like this is their time. I guess Grohovac and Sorrell, those guys have been there for 3 years. They were both a little bit beat up last year, which was part of their struggles, but, they're going to be high draft picks. I got one of the best transfer hitters in Hakopian, and they got some good young players that are really talented. And so it's a good lineup. Pitching wise, they kind of rely on 6 guys. So you got to get into that bullpen, and see if you can have them get outs with guys they don't necessarily want to get outs with. But they're well coached and playing very confident right now. So we're going to have to play our best to win.
And, Coach, obviously, this is going to be, one of those deals where, until you get fully healthy on Friday and Saturday, it's going to take the bump and trying to get to game number 3. I know that you said, Cooper could potentially maybe kind of sort of get an inning over the weekend. Is that something that is just going to have to be, hey, we'll let him throw a bullpen, see how he feels, or kind of where you at with that right now?
Well, he threw on Tuesday. He threw a full bullpen, full tilt, 100%.
Right.
Felt fine yesterday. Today's kind of interesting, and then how he progresses into the weekend. If he's available, to give us something, we'll put him on the active roster, and I'll put him in the game. And obviously, any inning that we can pick up over an SEC weekend or two would be very valuable. And we like him, obviously, and believe in him. And, he's got a lot of motivation to get back, too. Pro baseball is not interested in signing 6-foot right-handers with arm issues. So he needs to, if he wants to play pro baseball, he needs to get back out there, too. And he's tough and competitive and wants to do it. So as soon as we can get him going, we're going to get him going, and then we'll probably have to build it from there. I don't think we're going back to 4 or 5 innings right out of the chute.
Right.
That would be irresponsible, and we won't do that. But could he be a solution? Absolutely. And if you could start pairing him in there, and Marcos Paz is really coming along. I think he's our next really good pitcher here, which is great to see. You mentioned Devin did a great job. Garcia, he's got some potential. So. And Zach, obviously, you know what you're going to get. Maybe we can condense what we're asking Kidry to do. He's a little better in those shorter stints than when we have to extend him. So I think there's makings of a good staff where we can collect outs, and, your bullpen is going to be the number one factor in whether you can win close games or not. So anything we can get back from him will help us tremendously.
And, Coach, I always, want to mention Zach, and you did there. I mean, what he gives you, I have to imagine as a coach, to be able to, the other night he starts the game, and then there's been times where he's come in the 5th inning and doesn't give the ball to anybody else. He's closed games. He's done a little bit of everything, and he's certainly he has found his mojo back, and he's kind of pitching to the guy that we've seen him not only here at LSU but Wofford as well. What kind of piece is that to have for you to know that you can throw Zach in there in any situation? He's that player that doesn't seem like if it's a start, if it's a close, whatever, he's the same guy on the mound.
Yeah, he's a stud, just stud human being, stud pitcher, stud competitor, and I'm proud of him. The season didn't get off to a good start, but I give him all the credit for getting himself back on the rails and going, and that's really helped our team a lot. And just a guy we're lucky to have here, and is going to figure, obviously, a big part into the rest of the season, and obviously we know what he did last year. And, we want to get off to a good start on Tuesday. Forget all the stats, rankings, postseason, all that. We needed to win a game.
Right.
It was as simple as that. And so to be able to roll him out there for a couple innings and not just get a couple pretty good, clean innings, but to do it in a manageable pitch count so he could do whatever we need him to do tomorrow. He's just reliable. And,
right.
That's what I love about him. And, wish I could coach him forever. I'll tell you that much. So.
Oh, no doubt about that. And, Coach, I don't want you to give anything away. You can tell me go fly a kite if you don't want to answer this. But when you have a guy like that, what is that conversation maybe over the weekend? Because you know how valuable he can be in different situations. You mentioned, you need to win, you start that guy. And so, you could see him on a weekend get a spot start there. But being so valuable in so many different places, when does that conversation start for how you're going to use him? Or is it within the game and, hey, we got to go to Zach here. We can't wait. We can't save him. We need him right now. What are those conversations like?
Yeah, it depends on the setup for the game, because obviously I have a lot of confidence in Devin too.
Right.
Who are they pitching after? What makes sense? And I just think, he's pitched so well for the first 4 weekends, had pitched so well for the first 4 weekends of SEC play. It was hey, tie game on the road, full house. Again, really good environment. Just how he's going to handle it. And, frankly, we just didn't help him on defense. We didn't step on the bag at second base. They probably don't even score in that inning if we just step on the bag at second base. And even if we don't turn the double play, get the lead runner and get the force out right there. And weak contact, he had a clean first inning, which was the 7th after Kaysen. So I just felt in that series, that was the time to go to him. The other times, it's you got to lead and you get the other team trying to chase you a little bit. That's kind of his sweet spot, is when you have a 3 or 4 run lead and, he can really take over from there. So I think he knows that, but, want to expand it, started him. He doesn't need starting experience. If I just asked him to do it, he'd be able to do it just fine. But it depends on the weekend. We're kind of finalizing how we're formulating that, but it's if we have a chance to win, there's a good chance you'll see him in the game.
All right, great answer. You didn't tell me to go fly a kite, so I appreciate you giving me the answer there. I just find it fascinating, a guy like that can do so many different things for you. And like you said, like the demeanor's always going to be the same on the mound. It doesn't matter what level of baseball. It could be 9U, 12U, whatever U, college, pros. When you have a guy like that, it's certainly a luxury to have. Coach, we can't thank you enough. We always look forward to it every single week. Best of luck in the box this weekend. We'll certainly be out there rooting the Tigers on.
All right, see you soon. Thanks.
All right, Jay Johnson, LSU head baseball coach, good enough to join us here. And I always love Coach because, well, he's gonna break it down. He's gonna talk about it. He ain't gonna try to sugarcoat it, and that's why he's the best in the game. Before we step away, I want to remind you about RejuveMe and RejuveMeMedical.com. 13 locations. There's going to be a location that is convenient for you. Remember, they've got 12 in Louisiana. They have 1 in Mississippi. And it is somewhere that we always talk about, because if you right now maybe you're not feeling like you once did, or maybe you want that extra pep that you used to have in your step, you can regain that, and you can regain it with RejuveMe. You got to go get the blood work done, get the labs done, and then once they get that information, they're going to put you on a plan to feel just like we talked about, your youthful self, to feel like you have the whole day in front of you, not trying to feel like you play catch up all the time. So go to the website today. That is RejuveMeMedical.com. All right, when we come back, we are going to close it out like we always do, answering your questions. Remember, you can get those inside of the chat. You also can text those 225-499-1049 or 5. God, I was almost there. And we'll do that to wrap up this edition of OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to TrashRangers.com. TrashRangers.com, residential, commercial trash pickup. Remember, a little bit different over there at Trash Rangers. They're going to send you weekly text reminders to put your trash can out. That way you don't ever forget. They're also, if it's a holiday, they're going to make sure your trash still gets picked up, even if it's on a Saturday. They will work a weekend if it means getting your trash picked up because of a holiday. You don't get that anywhere else. So that's a part of it. It's also roll-off dumpsters, 3 different sizes to choose from. Depending on what your job is, you let them know what it is. They make sure you have the right size at your project. Sanitation department. If you've got an event, if you've got a job site and you need portable restrooms, they now offer that as well. So you can find all that information. It is right there on their homepage. You can find their phone number, 225-612-2477, all at TrashRangers.com. Again, go to their website, TrashRangers.com.
From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Born to be down. I've learned all my lessons before now. Born to be down. I think you'll get used to it, and you just don't get it. Keep it copacetic and you learn to.
All right, welcome back in, OTB. Here live from the Raising Cane's studio. Check out our friends over at Bayou Automotive, BayouAutomotive.com. Ford, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram. Got it all. Best part about it, you buy a car in LaPlace, you don't even have to be in LaPlace. You can be in Baton Rouge, you can buy a car, they're going to drive it up to you. Once you buy a car from them and you need maintenance, they're going to be able to pick up your car, give you a loaner, maintenance your car, bring it back to you. Go find that somewhere else. Good luck. Not going to find it. Only at Bayou Automotive, BayouAutomotive.com. Check out the Black Widow package as well. Not just on Jeeps, but certainly on Jeeps, but others as well. You got the Raptor, got the F-250, F-350, the Ram, all that Black Widow package. Nobody does it better. BayouAutomotive.com. All right, see if we can get to some questions here. A little Ask the Bench brought to you by Ice Cold Dos Equis. Go for Dos. Probably what Flynn's actually doing. Feet up, kicked up.
He went for too many, and that's why he's.
Well, could have.
Yeah.
Or he could just be like trolling us, and he could be doing it right now.
Him and T. Martin hanging out.
No
drinking
doubt
some Dos
about
Equis,
it.
2 QBs.
Ask the Bench, how do I get through to talk to someone? You don't answer the phone.
Guys, we ain't here just to say hi.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, I'm not. I don't answer the phone
We only
unless
answer it
I'm
if we
like,
call for
yeah.
a phone call. If we ask for it.
When I used to do Brian's shows, somebody would call in and I'd answer, and they would just like crap on me. So I'm not answering the random phone calls. Sorry.
That's the bench. How many games is LSU going to win this weekend?
3, obviously.
Win the series. Which pitcher do you trust the most for LSU right now?
Zach Cowan.
Cowan, Sheeran.
Zach Cowan just has the worst luck.
Yeah.
The worst luck, like of people playing behind him. Come on.
I want to talk about the defense and the pitching tomorrow.
Hey, I got a feeling it's gonna be the tripod again tomorrow. We can do it.
Because I have thoughts.
That blanket's gonna be all the way up to the chin. It is not gonna come down. Go grab you a nice cold Dos Equis. We love you. We thank you. We appreciate you. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Go America.
Off the bench.
All right, if you are not sure where to go when something doesn't feel right, Ochsner makes it simple with their right care, right place approach. You start with Ochsner's 24/7 symptom checker. Just answer a few questions and get directed to the care that fits your symptoms. Visit ochsner.org/find care to get started. For everyday health needs like checkups, headaches, or managing things like high blood pressure or cholesterol, primary care is your way to go. And they offer virtual visits for added convenience you can schedule at ochsner.org/brprimary. If you're dealing with something more immediate like a sprain, minor injury, cold, flu, or even needing an x-ray, Urgent Care has you covered with walk-ins and extended hours. You can find a location at ochsner.org/UC. Of course, for any emergency, you go straight to the emergency room, dial 911. So many different ways Ochsner is going to be able to help you out. The My Ochsner app is a great tool as well. Find all that information at ochsner.org.